Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Week Ahead. I'm Zach Grimes, and today I'm flying solo as Ryan Green, my co host, is away. But I'm joined by another Ryan, Ryan Williams. So Ryan's our guest today. He's an online safety and social media expert who has co founded some of the UK's largest publishing brands, such as the Comey Group, and it's gone viral. Ryan, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. Cheers, mate. Yeah, it's not raining, so it's a start here in Manchester.
I did forget that, but yeah, you've fellow Mancunian like myself. So
Yeah,
yeah, we do get a lot of rain, don't we? Ryan, could you just tell our listeners a little bit about your background and the work you're currently doing?
yeah. So to not keep it too long, back in 2016, I co-founded a company called It's Gone Viral. That came from I run a load of Twitter accounts in the sport field as a hobby. One thing led to another. We monetized them, and then the years went by, and I met two other co-founders who were doing the same. We had 2 million followers between ourselves on Twitter. We then went onto Facebook, made a page of It's Gone Viral. For these comparisons, there was pages like Lad Bible, Social Chain, Stephen Bartlett's company. Companies like that were just exploding with the growth of social media. So that was 2016. We just grew and grew and grew. Different pages in different genres. Won awards for my Twitter accounts. I had an office in Rochdale, scaled that to then have an office in Ancoats. Pandemic came and went, and then we took on investment in 2022, which meant I stepped back from my shareholdings, as did one of the other co-founders. So Comey Group still existing to this day. I think in Walt Milner, I am Coates, but for the last 2 years, I've been myself. I've been doing a mixture of social media consultancy, public speaking about the journey, business coaching and things like that. But the last few months, I've really started to turn my hand now something I'm quite passionate about, and that's online safety for kids. I've got an 11 and a 7-year-old, and I've seen the glorified side of social media, but there's also a much bigger thing at play here as tech moves forward, and that's keeping our next generation safe. So I'm sure we're going to talk about it a little bit more, but there's a real bit of a generational discrepancy now where these kids have got these apps 24/7, and there's a kind of a parental guide and guardian era who didn't use them. So there's big bridges to gap there.
Yeah, it's certainly a hot topic, and like yourself, I'm a parent. I've got a daughter who's soon to be 9, who's really taken an interest in that world, and it feels like it's a losing battle because you do want to protect them, but equally you want to ensure that they're able to still connect and take interest to these platforms in this digital world. You've got the entrepreneurial background, which showcases a lot of value, and it's interesting when you're saying that you've seen the lights and the glory, but then there's also this dark side of what social media and the digital world brings, unfortunately. In terms of the work you're currently doing, what does this week look like? Are you working with some schools, or are you working around this topic in particular?
Yeah, so what I've started to do is I'm starting to make online video courses. I've been recording them and editing. It's the editing that takes the longest bit. I can do the presentations, and then it's the cutting out. So because I want to collate. I've been doing them on like the general overview of like what cyberbullying and online bullying is, and then I've kind of gone platform specific, TikTok, Snapchat, things like that,
Mhm.
and then fake news, misinformation, and then within that, then I'm doing videos on the safety settings, the privacy settings, and I wanted to get them all kind of ready to upload to my website and then launch. So I'm still putting the groundwork in for that, so to speak. So and then that's my target market there is actually this particular one is the parents, the guardians, and the teachers, really, because there's still a big world of teaching the kids the stuff, but then I think there's a real big challenge to teach the adults the stuff
Mhm.
so they can help support each other. Because as well as I'm not ashamed to say sometimes my daughter's showing me things on Snapchat that I didn't realize. So I'm really big advocate of two-way communication. Like if we can be open with our kids about these platforms, they can tell us stuff and we can tell them stuff, and it's going to stop all this them going hiding, running away, and being isolated kind of thing. And I know Australia have just done it. I know our government are toying with it. They're banning it. I don't think that's really the way to go, because kids are kids and they'll just get round it, and then they'll just do it the more they do it secretively, the more dangerous it'll get. That's
Yeah.
my point of view.
Yeah, I did see your post on LinkedIn about that the other day, and it's an interesting topic. I'll be honest, I'm a bit torn on it. At first, I do, because I mean, I work in schools across the Lowers Trust, and I do see the challenges that teachers have, particularly with mobile phones, and obviously they want to use social media platforms. Can often be a challenge that teachers across the country face. But I do see the perks to it, and actually, for a lot of us, we're using these technologies in our roles in employment, so it does have its aid. But what's your stance then on the ban of social media if that was to be rolled in? Like, I'm guessing you'd oppose it first and foremost, but why?
Yeah, it's like an opposing, but not necessarily because I think kids should have it. I'm not saying all kids must have it. It's
Mhm.
more when you ban something, you think something like smoking, the kids will just go and, not all kids, but some kids will just go and sneak off around the back of the school and still have a fag. And it's too big of a beast to just ignore, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. And I feel like if we do ban it and then they then log onto it when they're 16, they're almost going to be blind to it. And they're open more to manipulation and they're more vulnerable then for me because they won't actually have a clue what to do on it.
Yeah.
And
So you're
I just
suggesting that there needs to be some more education around it?
massive. I think huge education because I wrote to my local MP Jim McMahon. He passed it on to the education secretary. She come back said it was all good. But the bill was done in 2019 and then reviewed in 2023, and I just think that's like light years in
Hmm.
technology, isn't it? Like if it was originally rolled out in 2019, that was before TikTok was a thing. Like so, it's I get I get why. I'm not saying have it in school, kids being on Snapchat in the middle of the class and that. I get that ban level, but it's more when they go home, when they leave them school doors, when they get in the bedrooms, it's going to be impossible to keep them off it because, and as well as how do they police that? Are they going to start finding parents? Are they going to start arresting people if they keep? So it's going
Yes.
to cause more work in the policing than let's just educate our kids and there is a big thing of the tech companies should do more, and the billion-dollar Silicon Valley companies they should do, but again we have to accept they don't. So it's us as custodians to
Yeah.
really make sure our kids are safe out there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think you raised some good points there. I mean, it is about us to being custodians. And you mentioned before around like parents being a key target market for the resources you're creating. But are you looking to provide these to teachers as well? And are you speaking with teachers to get their feedback on what the challenges are?
Yeah, so I've the same courses. Once I've kind of got them up, I've got the proof of concept. Then I was like you said, I'd like to pitch it to teacher at teacher level, and I've done the local school here. I did Brian Clark Academy a couple of weeks ago, but I've sent out emails to a few. Not open many doors just as yet. It's still been it's a bit of a struggle because initially when I first exited, I'm still very passionate in the bigger picture about young entrepreneurs. I want these young people. I look back at my entrepreneurial journey; it was unconventional, so to speak. I got a D at business studies, but I find that angle with schools is hard. They don't want people coming in saying, "I flunked my GCSEs and didn't go to uni. Now I'm doing great." Like I get, but that's not what we do as entrepreneurs. It's more I wish I could go back to my younger self and say, God, study more because if you had studied, look what you could have done. Look what
Yeah.
you've done without your studies kind of thing. But then there's that entrepreneurial spirit that is coming massively now in neurodiversity, isn't it? It's that brain that's not necessarily focused academic into exams, but there's obviously some real flair in there. So going back to my original point, what I really started to approach schools was if I wanted to go in and talk about my entrepreneurial journey, talk to business students, but that didn't really open many doors. So I think going down the online safety angle is a little bit better because it's doing good. And
Hmm.
then also within that talk, I can say at the end, there is careers in this as well. Like there's content creator, there's video, there's microphone, it's basically like television now, but online. You think of some of the big YouTubers. I always say to the kids, I bet everybody knows in here Logan Paul, KSI, Sidemen. They don't have a clue just how big the teams are that create that content. You know, the full media companies that are behind these powerhouses now.
Yeah.
So there's careers in it. And call me when I left, we had 80 members of staff, and I'd say at least 70% were probably under the age of 25. because
Wow.
we hired graduates who had media degrees and things, but then they also had the social media knowledge, and they went on to have fledgling careers. So it's the world we're in today, and like I
So
say, yeah,
what I mean, there is a challenge there. I think you're right in what you say. With regards to there's an untapped industry of awareness raising with particularly digital marketing, and I think the part of that challenge is the speed and the pace. Like you said before, the TikTok wasn't really a thing in 2019, but look at it now. It's
yeah,
it's one of the most used apps. It's probably rivaling Google in terms of its search feature.
yeah,
But what if you bring it back to schools and education on the whole? I mean, there's a challenge there because the curriculum, it can't deal with that speed of
no,
change.
yeah,
When you
that is,
speak
yeah,
to teachers, and I don't think it's through a lack of will. Certainly, from the people I speak to, are very passionate about their subjects, that are concerned around it, and actually, do advocate these new evolving careers. But what are you seeing as being the challenges to kind of get into schools and get young people more aware of these online safety needs?
yeah. I think, like you say, it's true because it's I'm going at them with my voice. It's that I'm not my voice isn't necessarily known. I imagine if like Stephen Bartlett dropped in on their inbox saying, "I'll come into your school," and they'd love that. So it's and I get that they're very busy. Like you say, they're busy delivering the like you say the curriculum that they have. So and I know the government are reviewing it. So the more and more it gets put on the agenda, then there will be scope for that. And
Mhm.
you're right. The big challenge is how fast it moves. And what I'm trying to do with what I've been designing with the online courses, because someone said to me, you can't possibly keep doing every single settings change.
Yeah.
But I've tried to do the more general overview of online safety. Of you could be using TikTok, you could be using Facebook, you could just the same similar
But
uh, lessons with
yeah.
morals, and then yeah,
If I could challenge that though, going back to your point around like your stance on not banning social media.
yeah.
If we were to ban social media from the 16s, surely that would solve the problem.
It would, but then I think we have a bigger problem when they turn 16 and suddenly they jump on it.
Yeah.
It's not going to have a clue what they're doing. And yeah, just even if it was taught, and even if I don't know, I still think even if they were banned on the apps, the education, they still need teaching what to do on them when the time comes as well. So I
Yeah.
still think if they banned it tomorrow, I wouldn't change what I'm offering. It would just
Hmm.
because as well you get a lot of your parents are mixed, aren't they? You get your real vigilant ones who would follow that, but then you're sadly going to get them parents who won't follow them rules. That's more of a societal problem with anything, isn't it? It's Grand Theft Autos for 18 plus. I know 12-year-olds that play it, and it doesn't
Yeah.
make it right,
To raise, yeah.
but it doesn't make it right. But it's can we help to make sure that they know they can't go and run over for someone or go and hit someone with a baseball bat and they'll just respawn? Do you know what I mean? Like it's the similar concept.
Yeah, yeah. So how important is then that schools playing a role in communicating and building that relationship with parents then? Because from what you're saying, there's an educational piece there with parents,
Yeah,
and I know there is a lot of good stuff that goes on there. There's a lot of resources that schools use because
yeah.
it's part of their curriculum to promote online safety. But is there stuff that you're seeing that schools or the curriculum could be doing more to build and raise more awareness of the challenges with parents?
No, I guess I might have even been yourself who said it to me that they're getting a lot of parents. Even my wife knows people at secondary. Parents are coming in complaining to the teachers about something that's happened out of hours on a TikTok, on a Snapchat, and stuff. And I get that for a teacher, that must be impossible because it's like, well, I'm 6 o'clock in the evening. I'm not going to be watching your kids message each other on TikTok, So,
Yeah, it
so
does.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it was myself, but
Oh,
I know
sorry.
it's a challenge that comes into schools when
Yeah,
if things if they're being done out of school hours and it's concerning like children in their school or even other schools. Yeah, it still is taken in the hands, particularly where safeguarding is concerned. Yeah, so
yeah.
I think there is schools have that responsibility then to safeguard the children on it. So, but then what do you think more could be done for parents then?
Again, yeah. Again, you'll get the ones who want to learn because
Yeah.
you'll have like the younger parents will be using it themselves and they'll think they'll they know everything. But again, I'm not ashamed to admit that my daughter will show me stuff on Snapchat that I go, oh, what's that? And then I'll go and look into it. So it's got to be a two-way street, I think, with open communication with the kids for the parents to learn as well. So you get your parents who want to learn, and then you get your ones who are a bit scared because it just ignore social media, just scared of tech in general. Like my mother-in-law is in that bracket. She won't even open a text message without asking me, that kind of thing. So there's that. And then sadly, there's the parents who don't necessarily care. So maybe they're the ones who are the ones that you want to tackle more of, because you need to say, look, this is what could happen if your kids are using it uneducated and unmonitored, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, we're talking about a very big problem here across society. We're a potential problem for us all to face where our children are concerned. And to add to that, we've got the challenges around AI. What's your view on what challenges AI is bringing or is going to bring where online safety is concerned in the future?
Again, it's going to be a massive area to navigate. There was just like say with the being able to generate pictures and videos using someone's head is scary. And again, this is where we flip it back to the tech companies do need to be doing more, but we can't
should the government be doing more then? Because you've referenced there about the tech companies, and I'm all for this in terms, I'll get my soapbox and say that there's got to be better regulations. From your big tech companies, but should our government be taking more of a stance and doing more?
I believe so, because I saw on TikTok the other day, there was a video that was just coming on my For You page, and at the bottom, TikTok had actually put, this has been generated by AI. So that got me really intrigued that so they are starting to do it. But it's going to be a tech battle of AI beating the filters and things like that. And like I say, it goes back. So, but it's a good point about the government. It's how much pressure they can put on, because like I saw a picture the other day of Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo with their arm around each other having a beer. And all the comments were like, wow, brilliant. Can't believe they've made up all that. It was AI generated, and it was like, because you all think of the Photoshop days, you'd always see the weird, someone had done it. Now with AI, it's beyond Photoshop.
Yeah, some of the stuff you do see is very convincing, isn't it? And that for me is it sometimes going to say then, and you touched on it with that example, is that if the fake content that's being curated is believable. We're seeing that unfortunately evolve on platforms such as X. How do we protect children from that?
This is one of the things I cover. It's giving them it's just teaching them the part, like the critical thinking part. So it's funny because when my kids are constantly asking questions, what, why, after a bit, it's like, stop asking questions. But it's the flip of that. You want them to actually question everything. I want every piece of content they see. I want to give them the skills to say, where's it come from? Who's saying it? Why are they saying it? What does it look like? And I think Simon's just put on the comments there about we can see the positives more. And I totally agree with that. Because I've grown a huge company from the positives of social media kind of thing. So there is ways you can show how it can be used for good. And there's a lot of empowering stories out there how people have in the pandemic communities on Facebook were keeping people going and such. But so I think going back to your question just about how we can protect our kids from it, it's imploring them to question everything and just not believe everything as gospel and fake news, and someone's opinion doesn't become fact,
So is that what your resources, you mentioned before about you creating these videos, these sound bites of learning materials, are you educating young people around that then on how to kind of proof and critically assess whether content is real or not, and to give them the skills to do so?
So and that is one thing I do want to do more of. I'll expand out.
Are you able to give like a bit of a couple of tips in terms of as a parent? So asking you as a parent now, what should I be telling my daughter to do in terms of if she sees something on a YouTube short or a game such as Roblox she might play? What maybe 2 or 3 things should she be looking for to see whether something's real or not?
So with regards to the messaging, I always say, like, do not accept messages. Again, this is where the settings come in, don't they? But only accept it off your friends, and even go a step further of contact the friend in real life and say, is this you on Roblox? Because straight away and then you could even do, sounds a bit like MI5 spy you, but you can ask them a question that only they'd know, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
What class did we have today? Do you know there's a lot of there's different security like that? And then with regards to actual content, I would say things like, where's it come from? Because again, this is where X and Meta have muddied the water. I always used to say, if it's blue ticked, it's genuine. But now anyone can pay for a blue tick, so that's nonsense. So we now go down the yellow tick, especially on yellow usually means they're a big outlet, and then look at the names like the Telegraph, BBC. I know there's a bigger thing here of player, but then people will go, well, they only spread what they want to spread. But in general, are they a verified outlet? And if it's a person, who are they? Are they a respected individual? Are they a newsreader? Are they a sports person? Are they a commentator? Because then it's teaching them, isn't it, about, I mentioned before, these internet sleuths who have this agenda to find things. So it's questioning it. And again, if they see, I've done it with my daughter, she'll tell me something she's seen, and I'll go, come here, and we go on Google and we Google it and go, can you see that's not in the news? That's not been reported on. What they've said isn't real, or that was their opinion, or they're a conspiracy theorist kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you for sharing that. No, it's been, I mean, I take my hat off to you. I think it's great that the work that you're doing, the agenda you've got around online safety. There is a lot of good stuff schools are doing. I see it myself, and being on the inside, and the curriculums that you do see and the content, which is great. But it's great then there's added value with the stuff that you're doing and other organisations that are probably doing something similar, because as you know, the thing we touched upon there is the world is moving fast, and the digital world is moving even faster.
Yeah.
So there is a greater need to continue this, so that it's helping to keep our children safe as we move into this new era of AI and future technologies. But that's been brilliant, Ryan. I'm sure a lot of our listeners will have gained a lot of value from that. I'm certainly interested to know more about these courses and the training materials you're developing. So I'm excited to kind of follow on and see what comes of that. As I'm sure the MarCommEd community will also take more interest. But where can people find you if they want to reach out?
So Ryan T. Williams Official is the handle on most things. But I'm Ryan T. Williams on LinkedIn, Ryan T. Williams Official on Instagram and TikTok. So
brilliant. And you recently just launched a book, is that right?
We have, yes. Yeah, it's called do you know what?
Oh, we get a preview.
Here's what I created earlier. There we go. It's
called
Blood, Sweat and Tweets. So it's the entrepreneurial story that I wish you through at the start, but it's come at an angle of my wife's point of views in the book as well. So she writes it with me. So the whole premise is that she was the glue that behind me. I was the one there smiling with all the success and everything in the press, but she was always the strong woman behind the man kind of thing. And it was just, I wanted to just do something a little bit different with the business book rather than just another autobiography that's just, here's how I grew to business. It's more lifestyle. Jenna covers a lot of personal things, like she's got endometriosis. She covers miscarriage in there, the struggles in our marriage, about everything. So it's called Blood, Sweat and Tweets for the origins of of the business. So it's there. It's on Amazon to buy. So
there you go. So if you want to grab yourself a copy, it's on Amazon. It certainly sounds of interest. I'll have to have a look myself on that one. But Ryan, it's been great chatting with you today. I know we've had a few conversations, and it's been great following your story. In the time I've known you, and I wish you every best wishes. Sorry for the work now you're doing within education, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest around the MarCommEd community. And it'd be great to have you involved with your social media background as well, because that's always a hot topic for all of us marketeers.
Well, because again, on the flip side of that is careers. That's another thing in schools when they have careers weeks and things like that. It's always fascinating going and telling the kids about the digital world and the future. So there's lots of things to be doing at education level that I'm very passionate about. So.
Well, I'm sure you'll have some follow-ups on this then. And I look forward to working with you as more time progresses. But No, for today, Ryan, it's been great. You know, again, just I know how busy you are, so big thank you from myself for coming on and sharing your story.
Brilliant. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you for everyone who's tuned in today.
Yeah.
Ryan Green should be back next week, but you know, I hope you've found today's episode really insightful.